Many of you have probably already watched the Optimum Tech video comparing Razer's new rapid trigger software to the notorious Wooting 60HE, but something he doesn't touch on is just how much more expensive the Wooting keyboard is. With their website being pretty much the only place you can buy the keyboard at MSRP, you'll not only have to deal with a $200 price tag plus an extra $30 for the wrist rest, but you'll also have to wait for an available shipment, which, depending on when you order, could take months. I was able to find a Huntsman analog on the other hand for just $110 on eBay, and despite the fake reviews, it arrived in brand new condition, although the box was a little beat up. This could make the Huntsman V2 a compelling option for those looking to gain an edge in FPS games, but at a more reasonable price and without having to wait so long. So how much of a difference does it actually make against a standard mechanical keyboard like this Cherry MX Blue ASIO keyboard? Well, in games like CSGO and Valorant, where you need to counter-strafe to cancel out moving weapon inaccuracy, I could feel some noticeable improvement over the mechanical. It's hard to tell how much of this was due to rapid fire rather than Razer's shorter 1.5mm actuation point, but it was a noticeable improvement nonetheless. Starting and stopping felt quicker and more responsive, something I especially noticed when playing Overwatch where there is no movement accuracy penalty. It is common to AD spam while shooting to make yourself harder to hit. While testing this in a mere workshop mode, I felt like movement with the Razer was slightly quicker, but I didn't really notice a difference when looking at the footage afterwards. It's important to mention I'm still getting used to the timing of the rapid triggers, and so I'm not taking full advantage of the quicker actuation, so maybe the quicker movement would be more noticeable with some practice. In Optimum Tech's video, he shows a head-to-head comparison with the Wooting and the new Razer update that exposes some of the Huntsman's shortcomings, such as how, unlike the Wooting, the Razer has a long, rapid trigger delay from when the key is fully depressed. I definitely noticed the same thing, and sadly this limitation not only affects gaming, but is also probably a hardware limitation rather than a software limitation, meaning it might make sense to hold off on purchasing a Huntsman and instead wait for Razer or some other company to release an analog keyboard built from the ground up with rapid trigger in mind. Some other gripes I had with the keyboard is that it comes with this extra USB pass-through cable that doesn't really do anything other than take up space, and it can't be removed from the keyboard. Additionally, while you can program macros with Razer software, I was a little disappointed to see Razer going with 3 playback knobs rather than macro buttons like the Wooting has. As it stands, I would probably recommend just forking over the extra money and getting the Wooting if you are specifically concerned with gaming performance, but if you can find the Huntsman analog at a cheap price, it still felt like a decent leap up from a traditional mechanical keyboard.